No, it's not creepy at all.
Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is my review of Jigsaw. Now I'm going to say this right off the bat, I am a big fan of the original 7 Saw films. They are some of my favorite horror films, and they are one of my favorite series of films to this day currently, because I really enjoy the story, which is told from 1 to 7. I think it's connected really brilliantly at some points, and I really enjoyed seeing how the legacy of John Kramer continued to evolve through his apprentices after his death in Saw 3, through Hoffman, through 4 through 7, and then eventually being taken back and redeemed by Gordon at the end of Saw 7. Spoilers for the original series, I guess. So now, 7 years later, after Saw 7, aka Saw 3D, we have Jigsaw, which is basically a reboot of the franchise that takes place 10 years after the death of John Kramer, Jigsaw. So presumably, this would be 10 years after the events of Saw 3/4, since those happened at the same time, you would think. So it's a little ways sooner to the events of Hoffman, Gordon, and Saw 7. But regardless, we have a whole new cast of characters, we have new traps, and new victims, and so let's talk about this movie. Main thing I have to praise is the music in this film, because Charlie Clouser, he's done the iconic score for this franchise with the da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun, da-da-da, that stuff. I really enjoy that theme, and I think that he does a really good job in this film as well, capturing that, remixing it, and putting it in various places in the film as kind of tributes to the original series. And I think he does a really good job in this film as well, doing the score for this movie. One thing which serves as kind of a tribute / Easter egg type of thing for fans of the original series is that there's a person in this film who has this warehouse of just small versions of all the biggest Saw traps throughout the first 7 films. Like, you have the box that Strom gets his head stuck in at the beginning of Saw 5 that fills up with water. You have the reverse bear trap, of course. You have a bunch of different iconic traps that you will recognize if you've seen all 7 films, like I have. And it's just a really cool, fun Easter egg filled thing for me to go and watch. And so when this thing comes out on Blu-ray, I'm going to probably be pausing that scene to see if I can pick out all the traps that are being shown in this film. Unfortunately, that's really where my positives end for this film. I really felt like the traps in this film weren't really that exciting or interesting, because in the original movies, the victims were basically playing out some terrible deed that they did or some reason that they didn't appreciate life, and it was spelled out for you. It's basically like, you did this thing, so to basically pay that back, you have to do this thing and pass this test in order to survive. With this one, it's more like, oh, confess your sins and you will be saved, that type of stuff. It didn't really work that well for me, because it didn't really make that much sense. It's not like, oh, hey, if we all shout out what we've done wrong, per se, then we're all gonna be saved. I don't think it's gonna work that way. The victims were not really that interesting either. None of them really were all that connected backstory-wise, as far as I could tell. And they just didn't really have any depth to them, as far as I could really make out. They had some like bad stuff that they did, but it wasn't really anything that really stood out to me. And as this is a Saw film, there is a connection per se to the original movies in regards to John Kramer, but I'm not going to go into it here. I'll probably do a spoiler review for this movie, honestly, because I just want to talk about it. Just know that there is a connection, which is revealed at the end, obviously, which ties it back into the originals, but not really in a good way. It sets up its own series or whatever this is going to end up being, but I thought that they could have done it a lot better, and I was kind of ultimately disappointed with Jigsaw. That said, I am going to give this a chance, because as big of a fan as I am of the original seven movies, they're not all perfect, and I acknowledge that. Most of them are not perfect, but despite their issues, they all connect into this really grand story, which I really enjoy. And so I will give this thing a couple of films to get its feet going and see if it can connect itself and give us a compelling story like the first one, or if it's just gonna fall on its face and just not even live up to the originals at all. So guys, those are my thoughts on Jigsaw. I did not like it nearly as much as I was hoping I was going to, but those are just my thoughts. And I really want to know what you guys thought down below in the comments. Let me know. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Are you a fan of the Saw movies? Let me know your favorite one in the comments as well. And as always, my people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.